house is open to the public on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays for free guided tours. So rather nice to wander up Corrie Street. Oh, you can sort of see that. So this is the only building with World Heritage listing that can actually be changed. Now if you're sitting out the back there over to the right hand side and you want to turn your chair down so you're not sitting around, feel free to do that. Of the Opera House, and they took lots of shortcuts, so of course they're going to paint building through the trees there. That is the Conservatorium of Music. That was the stables for Government House, and complete Harbour Bridge to look at it. That's to the right under that huge old safety tree. That's how Opera House is of Sydney Harbour.
Yes, I have. Always have.
Bradfield Park. It's named after Dr. Bradfield. He's called the harbour, north and south. When the bridge was built, everybody thought it was a bit too big. We didn't have enough cars. Now we've got too many cars. We need the Sydney Harbour tunnel. So the tunnel goes deep under the harbour and takes traffic to and from the eastern suburbs of Sydney. This is the deepest part of the harbour here at 47 metres deep. And as we turn over to the right, the point with the lone building on it, which has been nominated. Come up then to the bridge. It opened in 1932. It is still one of the world's largest single-span steel arch bridges. It has a cycleway, north and southbound railway line, 8 lanes of traffic and a footpath. It has bridge climb, where you go up and over the arch of the bridge on a guided tour. It's made from 52,800 tonnes of steel. Most of the steel was brought out here from England. The pylons are made from concrete faced with granite that comes from our south coast town of Moruya.